A lot of outlets have scrambled for some reason to rebut the notion that there's been a crime wave in Sweden. Vox asserts that concerns about migrant crime reflect, and I'm quoting now, a long history of sexual panics in the West about non-white immigrants. Is it that simple, though? Is concern about immigration in Sweden really just about white racism? Well, until last month, Azita Rajim was the U.S. ambassador to Sweden, and she joins us now for some perspective. Ambassador, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me, Tucker.
So it seems we've just been talking about what the actual crime numbers are, and I don't know if we're really going to get to the truth of it, but it does seem clear to me that there is legitimate concern about it in Sweden, whether or not the average person feels free to express that. And one of the ways we know that is because the government itself said recently, wow, too many people are coming into this country, and there's a social cost to this. If the wave of refugees and immigrants wasn't a problem, why would they slow it down as they have?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Tucker, I'm here for two reasons. One is that I think facts matter. People make decisions based on what they believe to be true, and those decisions have consequences now more than ever when there is so much misinformation. And we have a president that takes advantage of a wide range of resources, and you should be privileged to be one of them in giving him information to make important policy decisions for our country. So it's really important, and I appreciate the opportunity to have this dialogue with you. I saw your show earlier, and I thought it was great when you talked about that we need to move beyond, let's say, that you mentioned the personality of the president or the tweets, and we need to talk about the core issues, and we need to figure out how to have a lot of people come here and how to have them invested in our country. I thought those were really great questions. So I think that, what's really interesting to me, you had some great guests, and the Swedish journalist that you had, I think she got in the details of these statistics enough that I really want to say I can certainly get into the weeds on this with you. For the last 2 years, I've been steeped in this very much. I've seen statistics and reports and numbers, and I would just point out that none of what I have seen backs up the claims that Mr. Horowitz has made in the interview that he had with you, and I watched it twice, and I tried to listen for specific evidence or sources that he would state, and I didn't hear that. Perhaps I missed it, but it seemed to me that it was more anecdotal.
I don't think you did. No, actually, he gave statistics from the Swedish National Council, which I think is part of the Ministry of Justice there.
Not this one. I'm talking about the earlier. I'm talking about the earlier interview from which the president
that suggested that there's been an absolute rise in reported crimes, in arrests. And these rape stats are real. And I know people said, well, that's because somehow the women are including rapes from before. Okay, maybe that's true. I'm not an expert in Swedish crime stats, but the overall crimes have gone up 1.5 million in a year.
Well, I don't think it's for me to talk. I think we can sit here and talk about Swedish rape stats. And as your guest just pointed out, I think that one of the reasons, and I'm not an expert on Swedish rape stats, but I do know that a lot of the statistics, the crime rate has not skyrocketed, as has been claimed.
Okay.
And one of the reasons among many that those rape stats may be high, again, I'm not an authority on that, is because Sweden encourages people to come forward.
Okay, but it's not just.
Let me move on from that for a minute, because I think that.
No, sorry, Ambassador, I don't want you to filibuster. You just said that facts matter, and so I just threw out that the overall crime rate has gone up 1.5 million crimes in a year. Now, maybe that has nothing to do with the refugees flooding into the country, but the truth remains that the government, the Prime Minister, have said point blank, it's just too many people. We can't handle it. And so I wonder why it's so controversial for Americans to note that this is a problem, when the Swedish government itself is saying that.
Absolutely. So you nailed this right now. So that's what I want to get to, because it's really interesting to me that for the last 2 days we've been talking about Sweden. And we're talking about this, and I think what the real conversation is, what we're really saying, this is a conversation about security, it's about fear, and it's about misunderstanding, and it's about us. And we are talking about Sweden because what we're really talking about is, could this happen to us? And I can tell you that Sweden takes care. Sweden is a wonderful country. It's. I can go on about it. It ranks highest in the industrial competitors, all that. Okay, and they have their challenges, and they have taken a lot of people, and they're dealing with the challenges. But that does not mean that that is somehow related to migrants. When you take so many people, we're never going to be Sweden. Sweden has taken about 200,000 people, over the last 3 years, proportion to our population. If we were to take that many people, we would have taken 6 to 7 million refugees in this
I get
country.
It, but hold on. I'm running out of patience a tiny bit, Ambassador, because you're not getting to the core of it here, which is...
What does this have to do with us, is what I'm saying. Even if what everybody's saying, that the sensationalism is true, about Sweden, crime
Here's why it
skyrocketing.
has to do with us, because the left in Sweden and the United States has exactly the same response, which is anybody who has any qualm about this, A, better shut up. In Sweden, you can face prosecution. Or B, is simply just a racist. You're a bigot if you don't like it. And my point is there are real reasons not to like it. You don't have to be a bigot not to like it. There are social costs and economic costs to this. And nobody on the left wants to admit it. And I don't know why. It's very patronizing and it's very annoying to have to lie in order to meet some standard.
I would address that. Again, when Mr. Horowitz was having that interview with you initially, he was saying, well, many people are saying this, or I went to some swanky party and people were yelling at me. Let me tell you one thing, that actually made me crack up a little bit. That is suspicious to me. Swedes don't yell, particularly in swanky parties. So I don't know where he's getting his information.
I'll answer this. The Sweden Democrat, the party that was considered so right-wing and fringe 10 years ago is now vying for second place. Its support has doubled in the past 2 years. Why is that?
You want to talk about core issue. This is another country. We're talking about the politics and the demographics and the challenges of another country. Why aren't we talking about any other country? Why are we talking about Sweden?
We
what
could
does this have
talk
to do
about
with
France.
us? First
We
of
could
all,
talk about Germany or Belgium or Great Britain. I mean, it's all of a piece, obviously.
End? You know,
it's obvious
when I was in Sweden,
it's a template for what's happening here. That's why, as you all know, and
that's
most
what I'm trying to say. Well, that's what I started out by saying. Let's talk about the core issues. We're talking about this because we think it has something to do with us.
Okay, I'm sorry. We are out of time, and I wish we'd gotten more to the points here, Ambassador, but I appreciate your expertise in coming on tonight. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.